Greetings, citizens, and thanks for tuning in to Nindie Nation episode 92. I'm Jeff, and if you're new here, welcome to your one-stop weekly shop for everything independently developed for the Nintendo Switch. This week, we're covering every new indie hitting the eShop from November 21st through the 28th, and then we'll gobble our way on over to the deals section and leave you with our favorite discounted indies of the week. New episodes post on Tuesdays with help from our friends at the Nintendo Village, and keep your eyes peeled on YouTube and on Twitter at Nindie Nation, because as we head into Black Friday, you can expect a nice rundown right here on Nindie Nation of all the deals later this week. Before we get into this week's new releases, we need to take a look back at the titles that dropped on the eShop last week without any warning. And we've got some good ones this week, so I'm excited to say, let's kick off episode 92 by checking out the 9 neglected Nindies that released since episode 91. The first neglected Nindie of the week is a doozy. At least in its own genre, it could be a Game of the Year candidate. Star Renegades is a sci-fi RPG with turn-based combat and some of the most impressive pixel art out there. It's developed by Massive Damage and is another excellent title released by Raw Fury, who is quickly becoming one of my favorite publishers with games like West of Dead, Atomicrops, and Goner. After learning about impending doom, you battle through generations to ward off said fate. And while there is a mission-based structure, the game employs procedurally generated encounters with roguelike mechanics and RPG elements. Plus, it has one of my favorite style of combat systems, where you're able to see all upcoming moves in a timeline, and you have to build your strategy around those. Do you boost your characters to attack first, delay an enemy's attack, stuff like that. It's similar to Child of Light, Grandia, Final Fantasy X, or on a much closer comparison, Into the Breach. If you can't tell, Star Renegades is a game to watch. To be clear, I have not played it yet, but I will, and I have every reason to believe it'll be great. It's got above an 80 on Metacritic, and the only complaints that I'm seeing is that learning the systems can be a bit cumbersome. If you have Xbox Game Pass, you can play it in that library, but if Switch is your platform of choice, Star Renegades is available now for $24.99. JetPin comes roaring in here right after I was lamenting the lack of a good variety in pinball games recently. Can't say if this new entry is good, but it sure looks interesting. Developed by InCity Games, JetPin is more of a pinball adventure game where you progress through areas more so than single tables, and while you're outrunning constantly rising water levels, you move through environments that mess with gravity and momentum of the pinball itself. I'll probably pick this one up and try it out for myself, as JetPin launched for only $5.99. Flatland Prologue is abundantly clear in its description that this game is not a demo and is a full-fledged game. I guess the team at Minimal Games ran into some challenges with the name earlier on, but either way, Flatland Prologue is a side-scrolling tough-as-nails platformer with cool neon visuals and simplistic geometry that is available for $1.99. Tengam is a, quote, clever, bite-sized puzzler with a unique puzzle mechanic. It's developed by David Kilmer, and get this, the publisher is the Rochester Institute of Technology. I wonder if that means that they provided a grant for the game or something. Haven't seen that before. If you want to check out this unique puzzle mechanic, it'll cost you $2.99. Fire and Water is a slower-based 2D platformer about making your way through challenging obstacle-filled rooms, and it has an interesting hand-drawn stained glass window art style. It's yet another release by Piotr Skalski and is available now for $1.99. Unreal Life is a new game from a bunch of people I've never heard of. Developed by Hako Life and published by Room 6, Unreal Life is a pixel art 2D adventure with a lot of interactive story and point-and-click puzzles about a girl who lost her memory. Original. I'm not sure about this one, as it fits the bill for our typical neglected Nindie, but it's $23, so maybe I'm missing something here, but I'm not seeing anything that justifies such a high initial price. Now, onto the list of games that under no circumstances should you consider. These are your 3 Nindie no-nos for the week. Max Reloaded 2 is Serious Sam, but with 20-year outdated graphics. It's actually even worse, because this is a demo level from an engine, meaning that it's a free product that they put some new words in and are selling it. Max Interactive Studio is taking claim for this thing, and they are truly the bottom of the barrel when it comes to shallow developers, and this game does not deserve a penny, let alone 247 of them. Travel Mosaics 6 Christmas Around the World is the next entry in this Picross-style game that uses characters from Zootopia, and that one is $8. And Truck Driver is, believe it or not, another one of those awful truck driving games, but instead of BoomBit releasing it for $9, this one is published by Sedesco for $50? Okay, okay, that's a good one. Not a bad list of neglected Nindies this week, Star Renegades for sure, but I think most of this week's titles are at least worth a glance. What do you think? Anything jumping out to you? Let me know in the comments or on Twitter at Nindie Nation. Now, I was expecting this coming week to be light on new releases, what with Thanksgiving here in the US, but, well, it's not true. In fact, we've got a lot of great games this week. So without further ado, let's jump into the 26 new release Nindies that hit the eShop from November 21st through the 28th. On November 24th, NATIAN rhymes with bacon, and they must have never watched Nindie Nation because they claim that Monster Truck Championship is, quote,
the first monster truck simulation.
It doesn't look bad, but there's also a surprisingly limited amount of footage available for this game. That, plus a $40 price tag, and...
It's definitely a no for me, dog.
Tracks Toybox Edition is a fun little game I've tried out on Xbox Game Pass before. It's basically the video game version of a train table. You know, the one with those little wooden tracks? That's this. You build it, make a little city around your track, and then you can ride the train. It's neat, but while you may think,
hey, this is great for kids,
it's actually pretty deep and slow, so maybe it's good for kids after you build the tracks. Either way, it's a fun little game that now includes all of the DLC and is releasing from Excalibur Games for $26.99.
Too bad games!
Thinks they're clever, but they've titled their top-down zombie shooter by stylishly replacing the S with a 2 so it reads To Revive. To Revive is a pretty typical top-down shooter, but it includes a turn-based base building mechanic before each wave of the horde. It's only $7, but I'm not seeing anything here worth writing home about. The last title released for November 24th is by Microids, and wouldn't you know it, they must have acquired the video game rights to the Rubik's Cube, because Rubik's Brain Fitness is basically Nintendo's Brain Age but themed around Rubik's Cubes, and it drops for $29.99. On Thanksgiving Eve, November 25th, we've got 3 new releases before a surprisingly big Turkey Thursday drop. The first of which is My Aunt is a Witch, an animated visual novel about a boy and a witch by Sometimes You for $7.99. Plug-in Digital and Behold Studios releases what could be an awesome couch co-op game when Out of Space Couch Edition releases for $9.99. If you've played Fallout Shelter, think of that, but top-down and co-op. If you haven't, imagine something like The Sims. You're living in space and have limited resources like power and money, and you have to complete little tasks to earn more of those resources. And then you create more energy and build a home, family, and life among the stars. I really like what I'm seeing here, and I think Out of Space is a game to watch, especially if you've got someone to sit on the couch and play it with. Polygon Art is back, and they've still yet to impress me, as this week's release of Strike Force 2 Terrorist Hunt is another generic first-person military shooter on a tropical island. Man, I wish we had more of those. There's almost no information about this game, even directly on the studio's website, so I'm assuming that means there's probably not much worth discussing beyond its $18 price tag. And now, friends, citizens, it's time for Thanksgiving. Down the turkey, call the family, and then cozy up for a big Turkey Thursday drop that starts off with another developer who has partnered with
Turnox
this week. I swear, Turnox sounds like a lawn care company. Am I thinking of Terminex? That's termites. I bet I'm thinking of Terminex. Anyways, Alexander Bondarenko is releasing The Explorer of Nite, which has very little description and terrible box art, but upon further inspection, this side-scrolling adventure with a minimalist retro art style looks pretty solid. All I really know is that you're a cat, you're looking for fish, and you're exploring a dark forest, but I have to admit it looks fun, and for only $5, it's not that huge of a risk to take.
Root double
Dash before crime asterisk
After Days Dash Extend Edition.
Really? That's the name of the next game. Pretty sure this is an interactive novel, but I'm not sure. Half of what I see is crazy anime sci-fi stuff, and the other half is cracked out anime maids cooking. But hey, it must be good because Sky Games is charging $36.79. Can't even say that with a straight face. Ooh, hey, you like Picross? Yeah? Well, you back there. Wait, you've never played Picross? Well, do I have a deal for you? Because right now, you can pick up a demo of Jupiter's Picross S5 and try it out for yourself. My assumption, though, is that you're going to get obsessed with it. And that's okay, too, because it's easy to get sucked in when such an addictive, relaxing game is presented with such a nice level of polish. If you don't know Picross, go get the demo. If you know Picross, go pick up Picross S5 for $9.99. It's a great way to kill some time over the holiday break. I'm starting to think that Wales Interactive is a name to follow for quality story-driven games. This week, they dip into the world of horror with Maid of Sker, which I'm probably mispronouncing, and it looks spooky AF, citizens.
How do you do, fellow kids?
Based on Welsh folklore and a story from 1898, you play as a maid in an affluent family's house, and basically their ghosts can kill you if they pick up on any of your senses, so you sneak around the house seeing all kinds of rituals and general content rated a very hard M for, don't let your kids see this. Not exactly the best way to spend Thanksgiving with your family, but hey, if you all want to pee your pants together, that could be fun, and you can check out Maid of Sker for $24.99. Sky Mercenaries Redux is an upgraded port of a PC-based shmup developed by Adrian Zing and published by Polarity Flow for $15 even. After looking further into this game, the approach here is great. It includes a bunch of different progression and leveling systems, a massive collection of levels, multiple playable characters with their own upgrades and drones to develop, and if you beat the game and you're looking for more, there's an unlimited randomized mode too. On PC, it does include a level builder, but I can't tell if that's included in the Switch version as well. Either way, for $15, this looks like a fun, competent shmup with enough content to easily justify the price. Ah, here we go. This is the kind of top-shelf storytelling you came here for. Let's hear what
pull top
and Mo Novel have to say about Love Kami Divinity Stage.
The goddess descend. It was a time when people had forgotten their dreams and lost faith. The silhouettes of goddesses revealed themselves to people who, at the time, could only believe in what they saw in front of them. The confusion surrounding the countless goddesses appearing in Japan was soon solved through the reveal that Japan's guardian deity, Amaterasu, wanted to teach the goddesses about the human world. Next generation goddess auditions! Divine idol chicks, go on to spread your wings!
So if I'm reading this correctly, big-breasted anime girls showed up in Japan. The government put in place a system where the humans and goddesses learn from each other, and now you're part of a group of goddesses who want to become pop culture icons via some kind of American Idol-like competition. You too can turn the big-bosomed bimbos into the next Kelly Clarkson for $11.99. No Gravity Games is another publisher that we've seen a lot of recently, and I'm starting to think that they fit the mold similar to a Cubic Games. They release a bunch of games, most of which are from new developers, and while the range of quality varies wildly, they seem to be focused in the right places. Last week, they released Apparition, and you may know them from titles like X-Order or Wreckin' Ball Adventure, while this week, in partnership with Decaf Studio, they drop Picklock on the 26th for $6.39. It's a lighthearted, low-poly robbery simulator where you have to break into places, steal items, and then escape from the police, and all three sections of the gameplay look unique and fun. Overall, Picklock looks like a nice first impression for Decaf Studio, and another game from No Gravity that can help them raise that bar just a little bit further. A new puzzle adventure by Indie Nova is only about 30 minutes long, but it tells a compelling story about a man accepting death through his dreams. Our rogue also uses a cool visual style that mixes a black and white color scheme with some hand-drawn characters against hand-painted backdrops. It may be short, but at only $2.79, our rogue could be an interesting little trip worth taking. QV is an isometric puzzle adventure that borrows elements from games like Captain Toad Treasure Tracker and Bastion, telling an anime-inspired story about dimension shifting in a colorful, friendly world. It comes by way of CFK and launches with a 20% discount for $11.99. And nothing says Happy Thanksgiving like Dolores Entertainment's In Celebration of Violence. Maybe it's based on Black Friday shopping? It's actually a top-down hack and slash with a deep parry system, so it's got that Souls-like vibe going on alongside the pixelated art style. It's $12.99, and jokes aside, I like what I'm seeing here, especially since it has procedurally generated dungeons with roguelike mechanics and RPG elements. We've covered a lot of point-and-click adventures here on Nindie Nation, and we've frequently described art styles as looks like a storybook or something like that. This week, though, Ilias delivers Nordlicht, a game that really delivers on that bedtime story aesthetic more than any that have come before it. I mean, it really looks like the stuff I read to my kids at bedtime, and I think that's a good thing. The story centers around a smart, witty young girl named Aurora, her guinea pig, and her dad as they venture north to see the Northern Lights together. It's reviewed great on PC since releasing last year, has received a lot of praise for a kid-friendly story that's enjoyable for all ages, and at only $3.99, it's hard to say no to Nordlicht for a fun adventure worth exploring with the family. And the last title to release on Thanksgiving is a game that will go great with the post-Thanksgiving coma, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say is probably worth trying for just about everyone. Alto's Adventure was released for the iPhone in 2015, around the time people were starting to say,
Hey, we can get a deep, engrossing adventure on mobile. Who knew?
In fact, the game and its sequel, Alto's Odyssey, have both been free on iOS and Android a few times. The games look like an atmospheric, side-scrolling version of PlayStation's Journey, with bold, gradient colors that look gorgeous on any screen. But the gameplay is a bit different. It's actually closer to an endless runner where you're on a snowboard and you're timing your jumps and power-ups to get the most air and to collect the most coins you can. It's a great mishmash of genres that results in two games that are beloved by many and can now be played on the Switch in the Alto Collection, which launches on November 26th on sale for just $7.49. I am definitely picking up this collection this week, and I'm really looking forward to playing these two games again. Finally, rounding out the week are 5 games releasing on Black Friday, November 27th, and actually, all 5 of them look worth considering. First up is BFF or Die, which, if you can't tell by the name, is a
Zany multiplayer party game with a gimmick.
well, kinda. It is a game meant for co-op, 2 to 4 players locally, but you're cooperating to solve puzzles that really run the gamut of just about any type of multiplayer puzzle element you've seen in games before. The visuals are bright and fun, the gameplay is fast but not frustrating, and it's only about a 2-hour-long main campaign, so it might be a good title to play through with someone who just dabbles in games, especially over an extended weekend. BFF or Die launches from 2 Awesome Studio for $6.79. Tiny World Racing is a cheap little top-down racer that should remind you of the classic Micro Machines games or maybe RC Pro-Am. There's not much more to say than that. The game's not gonna blow your socks off or anything, but it's a competent little top-down racer that supports 4 players and comes our way via Chequered Inc. for $3.99. Dragius Games graces the eShop this week, and they deliver a puzzle platformer that I can tell will hook quite a few of you. Gearabox is a super simplistic game of getting a square from point A to B, but you do it by rotating the world around you rather than controlling the square itself, and it looks to be just the right kind of addictive. It's a relaxing experience that includes leaderboards and speedrunning modes in case you want to get crazy with it, but at $2.49, it's cheap enough to throw on the Switch and chip away at whenever you're in the mood for some chill puzzle solving. No Gravity Games have one more title for us this week, and it's a twin-stick shooter with an awesome visual style. Destropolis takes place in a world where everything is bland, oversized pixels with you as the blue cube and the bad guys as the red shapes, and everything in sight is destructible. There's a bunch of weapons and abilities to use and support for up to 3 players too. It might just be a single horde-based level, that much is hard to tell before actually trying it myself, but I will definitely have some impressions for you because I plan to pick up Destropolis as soon as it launches for $4.79. And as usual, the last new release this week is from Ratalaika Games, and just the same as last week, we've got yet another interesting platformer for $5. More Dark is a puzzle adventure developed by Huge Pixel and has you searching for escaped prisoners of hell by way of 60 single-screen puzzle rooms. More Dark is definitely more puzzle than last week's Micetopia, but it still looks like a great way to kill some time in a game that doesn't take itself too seriously. Pretty good list this week, huh? There's a bunch of great stuff. I'm interested in Destropolis, Gearbox, Picklock, the Alto Collection. At least these are cheap games. What are you picking up? Let me know in the comments or on Twitter at Nindie Nation. Before we let you go this week, let's check out the deals. You know, just in case your wallet made it through that new release list unscathed. With just over 200 games on sale this week, the eShop is clearly getting ready for a big Black Friday hoedown, but until then, we've still got 8 Nindie Nation approved deals live right now through at least November 28th. Omega Strike is by the team who makes a lot of cheap thrill games I love, like Devious Dungeon and Daggerhood. This pixelated run and gun has a limited Metroid-like structure and gameplay that is perfect for mindless action while you're watching Netflix or listening to a podcast. This week, Omega Strike is on sale with a 75% discount for $3.74. Vertical Drop Heroes. Boy, it's been a long time since I've talked about you. Probably my favorite Jankfest of an indie. It's actually a trifecta where you dig down into a world complete with procedurally generated levels, roguelike mechanics, and RPG elements. This one consumed my winter break a couple years ago, and there's a Let's Play on our YouTube channel if you want to see more, but just know that I love this game, and I think at 80% off, $2 is a steal. I got 30 hours out of this game. Bot Vice is a cheap thrill of a different flair. It's a 16-bit gun gallery, so you're behind a wall and you run left and right and shoot enemies as they pop up from cover. It's like a light gun game, but with good controller support. It's great, it's different, and with a 70% discount, it's only $2.99. This one is pretty challenging though, so I don't think you'll be watching movies in the background with Bot Vice. You heard about the new Picross S5, but if you want to check out a cheaper version, the entire Picross S series is on sale this week, and my personal pick is Picross S, which is 20% off for $6.39. I'll confirm, but I'm pretty sure more of these games besides the new ones have demos, so go check those out too if you've yet to dive into the world of Picross. Hyper Light Drifter is one of those games that proves video games are art. In an incredible pixelated post-apocalypse, you lead a mute character in an open-ended Zelda-style action RPG quest through one of the darkest storylines I've ever seen in a game. It's very artsy though. You're either gonna love it or you're not gonna care enough to get it because it can be very obtuse at times. Regardless, I think this is one that most people should give a shot. It's rarely on sale, but right now it's half off for $9.99. You might blow $10 and not really care for it, but there's a good chance that a couple of you will discover one of your favorite games on the system. For some reason, that's just what Hyper Light Drifter does to people. What would happen if you took a few developers with some decent experience under their belt and asked them to take the learnings of all retro shmups and create something that would fit right alongside the best that the classic genre has to offer? Well, you'd get Super Hydora, and it is an excellent classic homage to 16-bit shmups. If you love that genre, you have to get Super Hydora, especially while it is also half off for $9.99. If all you're looking for is a little runny, jumpy, then the recently released Dadish is a great, easy pickup. This colorful yet challenging platformer about a radish saving his radish babies is currently 80% off for $2. And finally this week, Lost Castle is a dungeon crawler with arcade brawler gameplay, kinda like Castle Crashers, but with loot. This game is a blast with friends and supports 4 players online or on the couch, but it's great fun solo too. And this week, Lost Castle is 60% off for $3.99. You know the drill, hit the comments, let me know what you're picking up. Did you see any other deals? If something big popped up in the day since this episode's recording, drop the deal in the comments or tell me about it on Twitter at Nindie Nation. Lots of great stuff, but for now, friends, that's where we're going to end things today. Don't forget to stop by the YouTube channel where new episodes post every Tuesday. The podcast feed is hosted by our friends at the Nintendo Village, so go check out their content for all your Nintendo needs, and hit up their YouTube channel while you're at it. For everything they make all in one place, check out thenintendovillage.com. We're also doing Thursday streams, but probably not this week because of Thanksgiving. If you're subscribed on YouTube, you'll know when I'm scheduling a stream because I usually get the heads up out there a day or so in advance. And we will be having a Friday show most likely this week, but it'll probably be focused on the Black Friday eShop sale and be much bigger than usual. So stay tuned. Not really sure exactly how we're going to cover that yet. I feel like even though the week just started, we're in for a lot of indie goodness, and we'll see each other again soon. For that reason, citizens, we'll leave it here for this episode. Have a happy Thanksgiving to those who observe it. Be safe, stick to small gatherings, eat until you pass out, and then come right back here for the biggest eShop deals of the year. Until then, I'm Jeff. This has been Nindie Nation episode 92, and for all your indie gobbling needs, know that we'll be right here to help you find just the thing to keep your Joy-Cons synced.